have reduced federal funding from for these two particular programs. And as a result, the state of New Jersey decided to change the way that they would administer the program from an entitlement program to a competitive bid process. The County of Passaic had 3 agencies that were doing these two programs. You have Paterson Task Force that was responsible for Paterson. You have the United Passaic Organization who was responsible for Passaic, and then you have the County of Passaic that was responsible for the other 14 municipalities within the county. As part of this, I just want to say the state of New Jersey went from 44 service providers down to 17 service providers statewide. And they said that it will only be one service provider available for the county of Passaic. While I was at a Passaic Task Force trick trade event like a year ago, right after I got elected, Reverend Tuff approached me to let me know that this was something that the state was considering doing. At the time, I didn't know about it. So I had him as well as representatives from the United Passaic Organization and the County of Passaic, who handles our weatherization program, to meet. And we had a series of meetings talking about what we thought the state was going to do in their RFP process and what our response would be collectively. At that time, we tried to work together. We had a series of meetings. We saw, and we were trying to find out if there was a way that we could submit a joint application that would essentially allow all 3 organizations to continue to do what we've always done. However, the way that the request for proposal was drafted, it did not allow us to submit a joint application like that. So all 3 agencies, in addition to some other agencies who weren't providing in Passaic County, submitted for this request for proposal. There was a total of 5 agencies that submitted this particular request, and the County of Passaic won the grant. During the course of our meetings, and when we found out that we weren't going to be able to submit a joint application, and the way the request for proposals work, you have to state everything that you're going to do for the program. You're telling them exactly how the program is going to be run. At that time, there was a proposal to have the County of Passaic as the lead agency and to subcontract the services for community outreach to both the United Passaic Organization and the Paterson Task Force. We decided not to go into that direction. And by saying we, I mean collectively. I was the one who actually put that on the table. So I put it on the table that we'll have to happen. As for now, this grant is only for 1 year. It is not written within the proposal that we submitted to the state of New Jersey to allow it to have other subcontracting. So when we're talking about partnerships and subcontracting, they sound the same. We could partner, but when you're talking about subcontracting, you're talking about paying for a particular service, which is not in our proposal that was submitted to the state of New Jersey for this particular grant cycle. Okay, this grant cycle ends in June. We are interested as a county to continue to have open dialogue to see if in our next grant cycle that we may be able to do some type of proposal like that. But right now it's not possible to do that. We had a lot of people talk about the location and how the County of Passaic was not set up for this. And for that I would say you're right, the County of Passaic was not set up for this. Some of the fault belongs on us and most of the fault belongs on the state. The state was supposed to release the funding for this a month prior to when they actually released the funding. So, as you know, you can't hire anybody unless you got the money allocated. You can't rent space unless you got the money allocated. So we had to work out of the location that we already have, which was in total. Right now, we're looking at least 2 locations in Paterson. One location should be open by the end of the week in our Passaic County One Stop. In partnership with the One Stop organization of Passaic County Community College, which is only 2 or 3 blocks away from where the Paterson Task Force had previously provided the services. In addition to that, we're also looking at a satellite site inside Center City Mall in the PSC&G office. So if you go to the PSC&G office, we will have the representatives there. And we're also exploring the opportunity of possibly opening additional space within Center City Mall, something more larger. We haven't agreed to do that yet. We also will be having, by the end of the month, some space in Passaic, at least 1 location, and again, possibly 2 locations. There will be some growing pains. You know, it's hard to go from serving 1,500 people to 15,000 people. You're 100% correct about that. If we had it our way, everybody would do what everybody has always done. But it's not up to us as the Freeholder Board. This has come down from the governor. Actually, we go even higher from the federal government, who provided less money for the program and cut the funding. Then the state of New Jersey said that we're not going to let everybody do it no more. And they reduced it from 44 agencies down to 17. So just to put another thing out there, as a county of Passaic, we had an obligation to provide for this grant, because we've been, just like the Paterson Task Force, have been serving people throughout the county of Passaic. Had we not applied for this grant, and I think it's really important to note, this would have been with the Bergen County Community Action Partnership out of Bergen County. The same people who are now running Head Start, who came in second place in the competitive bid process. So I just want to point that out. If we didn't do it in the county of Passaic, we did not apply. It's not like it was automatically going to go to the Paterson Task Force or even to the United Passaic organization. It was going to go to the Bergen County Community Action Group. Additionally, some things that we have to worry about moving forward for next year. The state in this particular request for proposal only allowed the 44 agencies that we're currently serving to compete for the 17 spots. Next year, they're going to open it up to anybody who wants to apply, including for-profit companies, not just community-based organizations, not just governmental departments and governmental agencies, but also for-profit companies. So in next year's proposal, we will be competing against people who are only looking to make a profit and don't have the community's interests at heart and aren't affiliated with any governmental or non-for-profit organization. So in drafting our proposal for next year, we need to be even more competitive than what we currently are in this particular one, because as we said, they're going to open it up. Now, you know, my number's been the same. I haven't changed it. You know, I've had meetings with Reverend Tuff before the grant proposal came out. I had meetings with the United Passaic organization before the grant came out. You know, there was a lot of hoopla and stuff on rumors on Facebook and everything like that that was going on. But throughout this whole entire process, if anybody had a question, they could have picked up the phone and they could have called me. And now I'm still saying that the county of Passaic, and me in particular, as the only freeholder from the city of Paterson, someone who knows the Paterson Task Force and has personally benefited from the Paterson Task Force. There's been some times when my family had to go there to keep our lights on, and even me personally when I was in college. You know, it's not in our best interest for the Paterson Task Force to go away. We're talking about, when some people say that you're closing the Paterson Task Force, you're trying to do away. These are just 2 grants of the many grants that the Paterson Task Force has. They are the 2 biggest grants that the Passaic Task Force has, but they are just 2. As a community person, and I'm stepping aside as a freeholder here, we need to ensure that the Paterson Task Force stays around, that the Paterson Task Force doesn't go anywhere. And other community-based organizations, not just the Paterson Task Force, but other community-based organizations and non-for-profits have been closing left and right because of the way that the federal and state government have been doing away with entitlement programs and moving to competitive bid processes, as well as lowering the amount of money that they provide for administrative services for these particular functions. As a result of that, we need to put our collective heads together to ensure that our organizations can be competitive for these type of grants moving forward. I'm willing to help out and do whatever I can to ensure that happens moving forward. And as we said, we could continue to have conversations to find out if there's a way in next year's grant that we could have a joint application as we tried to do this year, or to have subcontracting or partnership as we tried to do this year. But again, for this particular cycle, it's over. You know, and all we can hope now is that the people who've been getting the services continue to get the services, and that we don't lose anybody and nobody gets hurt by us not being able to provide those services. So we need the Paterson Task Force help. We need everybody here in the community's help to let people know about our office when it opens up in Paterson, about our office when it opens up in Passaic, to ensure that people are getting the services that they need. Not to say, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and all this other stuff. You know, we got to make sure that people keep their lights on, you know, and people aren't freezing when it comes winter time. So, you know, we can continue to have the conversation, or at least restart the conversation, so that we could figure out what we're going to do next year. But in the meantime, we got to make sure that we get up and running. And as I said, there will be some growing pains. It's not going to be easy going from 1,500 to 15,000. We've hired a lot of people already. We've hired 12 people. We hired 7 people from Paterson and 5 people from Passaic. We hired a couple of representatives from the Paterson Task Force and a couple of representatives from the United Passaic organization. And we need to hire more people as the demand continues to persist. But we have to also ensure that in future grants that we do a good job this year and that we're able to remain competitive so that we do not lose this grant to Bergen County or to a for-profit organization. Thank you, Mr. Director.
You're welcome. Any other Freeholder want to comment?
Well, Freeholder, at the end of the way, TJ, I just want to blow my support that we don't lose Paterson. You know, you all made a very good point. I wouldn't be sitting up here representing you if you didn't ask me to vote for me. So I want to make sure that my friends out there, and a lot of friends out there, and constituents, that we do the right thing for you. Now, it comes from a higher hierarchy than us. TJ put it best. We don't want to lose the Paterson Task Force. I'm tired of getting Paterson beaten up and getting the short end of the stick as well. I may have grown up here, but I've been here a long time, and I intend to stay a long time. So, you have my word that whatever I can do to make this transition, whatever I can do to help the residents of Paterson and Passaic as well for this transition, we need to do it. It's obvious we don't really have a choice. But I'd like to see the olive branch out there and put it out there, TJ, and I support wholeheartedly. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. Unfortunately, Paterson is always asked to do what you have, what we give you. They don't give us a whole lot, and they keep cutting back as we go on. So, well, I understand your frustration. No, I don't really. You know, when I was a little kid, maybe, you know, we had the lights turned off a couple times in our house, but I never dealt with that. My mother dealt with that. But now I look at, you know, what as an adult, working with PSE&G, that monster. When you're trying to sit on the phone for 50 minutes, an hour and a half, and then get clicked off, you got to do it again. Now, Reverend, you know, I'd like to say we have a silver bullet here solution. All I can say is I'll do whatever I can to work with my colleagues to make it work. It's just what we got. Thank you.
And I just want to say one thing. This month, I go back 45 years in doing things in the city of Paterson, so it's my anniversary. And Ernie Rucker, we go back a long way in fighting for things. We were on the same side then, we're on the same side now. I think one of the concerns that I have, and you know, Reverend Lassiter and I are the trustees on the Work One Stop, where we're trying to put more things out to the community. What concerns us, and I've been around a long time and seen a lot of organizations, a lot of nonprofits that did an awful lot of work in Paterson for all communities. CASA, I think that Maria Magnus having problems keeping alive the Hispanic Multi-Purpose Center, which served the population of all races, all religions, in areas where there was no funding, for those women with AIDS, for instance. CASA no longer with us. They provide, my point is, I'm watching, and we're all watching, as nonprofits are being squeezed out. This governor wants to privatize everything. And he has us all fighting for the scraps that they're throwing down. You know, the trickle down doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's a failed experiment. We lived, for those of us who are as old as I, lived through the Johnson's War on Poverty, which actually worked. People were raised over the poverty level. Kids were eating. Education was better. So, you know, that theory that we're going to give everything to the rich and it'll all get down to all of us is just not so. I'm very concerned, Reverend, that Paterson Task Force stays alive. I'm watching all these nonprofits that are in the community, that are community people. I'd like to know how many people you had to lay off. I'm just curious how many you had to lay off because of the loss of this program. So that's one thing I want to talk to you about. You know that the One Stop, we work very hard to get more money out for RFPs to the community. Now, it's a different role. But I just worked very hard with OIC. They picked up a rather large transportation grant, as well as something to help people who are on public assistance that have to be in an activity. Those opportunities are out there. So I want to work with you in transitioning the role of task force, because we can't lose task force. I don't know how old task force is, but I've been around, like I said, 45 years. It was around when I came, and it's still around, and it's one of those community organizations.
The 50 years.
50 years. I'm just slightly older than that, like by a lot. But we together, and I agree with the Councilwoman, we together, we've done things together also. There's an advantage to being old. That's about the only one. Otherwise, it's rather an inconvenience. However, let's work together and maybe redefine what task force is going to be, but we cannot lose it. We will not lose it. I will work with you to do that, and so will this entire Freeholder board. And let me tell you, I think we all appreciate the community coming tonight. Every once in a while, right, Janet? Every once in a while, you have to stand up and say it like it is. And when you do that, you put the flashlight, you put the spotlight on what's going on in the community. Not everybody knows what goes on in the community. Not everybody on this board or anyone else is out there day to day, except the people who live there and provide those services. So you have our support. You've had my support for 45 years. We're going to make sure that this Freeholder board is responsive to you, because we're family. I realize that we talk about elections, forget about elections. I don't even know if we're going to run next year, but we're family. Family first. So I appreciate you coming. I assure you, Reverend Tuff, if you can,
Call you tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a meeting with Reverend, yes, do. I have a meeting with Reverend Lassiter at 8:30 in the morning at the college on Friday. I'm available after that, and maybe Friday we can have a chat.
Okay.
But if you haven't responded to the RFPs that are out, I would like you to get a hold of Davy Dean at the One Stop and get a packet, and I'll talk to you about that also. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue.
Freeholder Director, please.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I just want to say, first and foremost, Reverend Tuff, it's a testimony to the kind of work that the Paterson Task Force has been doing in the community, and so many people are willing to come out and speak up on behalf of the agency, and I think that's a good thing. It's always a good thing when the community attends the meetings. It's important because we need to hear how you view what's going on in the community, and it keeps us connected. That's extremely important. I just want to highlight a couple of things that Freeholder Best has said in regards to the fact that this was not taken. This was not taken from the task force. The state made this decision. And if you're going to take anything away, it's important that you take these things away. Had Passaic County not put in for this, it would have gone out of the county. So I want you to take that with you to understand that we actually kept it here. And in understanding that, to also take away with you that our goal is to work for the community. You are right, we were elected to serve the people of this community, and we cannot forget that. I want to point out something that Mrs. Galashaw said when she came up. She said she came in to get information, to be educated on what happened, and I assume everyone else did as well. You are right to be passionate and committed to this. It is important because you are talking about your family members, your children, the seniors in the community, and we want to fight alongside with you. Someone came up and said it's about being compassionate, and I agree with that, but it's also about being pragmatic and making sure that the services remain here and are provided by individuals that care about this community. I can tell you this personally. Freeholder Best is from Paterson, and he fights extremely hard in our committee meetings that we remain focused, that the perspective is always there, that when we have resources, we make them available. But I can tell you with 100% confidence that Freeholder Bartlett, Freeholder Contronio, Director James, Freeholder Duffy, and Freeholder Lepore, as well as myself, all fight with the same goal in mind, to make sure that we are not forgotten, that those resources are not eliminated. So we give you this assurance and this commitment that we will continue to fight alongside you for the best interest of the community. Someone else came up and said, unfortunately, we have had to turn people away. I think Freeholder Best put it best. He put it very well when he said, please don't turn people away, rather turn them to the program that is still here. We are opening offices in Paterson I'm from Passaic, born and raised in Passaic. We're opening offices in Passaic. Please reach out to us. And as the director said, it's not about elections. They are important. I'm not lying, they are important, but it's about service. And you can't hold us accountable, and we will continue to fight on your behalf. So again, thank you for being here this evening, and I encourage you to continue to come, not just for one issue, but every single time there's something that's going to impact the community, you should be here holding us accountable, because you elected us to make the tough decisions. And we're not going to be here to say what you want or what you like every time, but you deserve that we tell you the truth. That we look you in the eye and we let you know, yes, we put in a bid and we went after this, but we went after it to keep it home so that it wouldn't be taken by another agency that was not from the county. And now we're going to work our butts off to provide the services for the people in the community. And next year, the bid will go up, and there's still greater opportunities to partner. Thank you very much.